Today's guest entered a pageant to chase her dreams. However, she left with something far darker. Behind the tiaras, sashes, and titles, her story took a harrowing turn. From a modelling scam to a near-kidnapping in Manila, Rosie's journey reveals the shocking underworld within global beauty competitions. And in today's episode, she opens up about her survival, identity, and what it really means to wear a crown in a world that often treats women as currency. This isn't a story just about a beauty queen. It's about the danger of traveling alone as a woman, power that strangers can have over you, and the price of ambition. Welcome to Stefanie, where every week I'm going to introduce you to the people behind jaw-dropping, life-altering, true stories from all over the world. I'm Stefanie Jones, TV host, storyteller, and your partner in crime for the wildest podcast ride you've ever been on. Each episode, you'll hear shocking stories that'll make you realize we humans are capable of anything. Now, let's spill the tea. Rosie, let's go to the beginning of your career, because I read online that initially your modelling career began in London, but it was through a scam, a modelling scam. So tell me what happened.
So it's a funny story because I was actually used to be a primary school teacher. I was teaching in London. And when I was doing my teacher training, I just wanted to do modeling. They came to me like in the street. Like it's like these scams are everywhere. So I was invited to a photo shoot in a studio. And I was so excited thinking that, oh my God, I can finally get out of the teaching classroom and do something different, something in front of the camera. So I went to the studio. Everything was great. The makeup artist, hairstylist was like amazing. And then at the end of the session, they started asking me like which pictures I would like to have. And I was so excited. I chose like so many and I was planning, okay, I'm going to tell all my friends that I'm a model now. And then they started to tell me, okay, we have these packages, so you need to choose whether you want to pay for that one or this one. And the price, as you can imagine, like a professional scam, is like really like above the average price. But then I was like so eager, so I of course pay for that. And then I found out they didn't offer me any contracts and they didn't offer me any jobs. So all the money just went for this, album.
So when you were on the streets of London and someone comes up to you and they say to you, you can be a model, I've got a photo shoot, that for you is like, you've hit the jackpot. This is amazing. So of course you're going to go and do it because it's a dream come true. And then like you say, then they hit you with this huge bill at the end and you're completely blindsided because that's not been mentioned at any point.
I thought that was the way it worked. I had no idea until I actually met models who have been in the industry for years. And then they told me this is not the way they worked, but it's too late. What happened already happened. I see it as an investment, like a wrong investment, but somehow got me into where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, this is my story, not a very glamorous one, but a very truthful one.
It's really good that you're being honest because so many people, either you could save them from being in that situation or you're raising awareness. Sometimes to build that portfolio, you have to do those things. But watch out for the ones that want to take advantage along the way. So how did you go from that moment of being scammed to building this entire empire, Rosie? You're now a huge title holder in not just a national, but global pageantry. You are so integrated in that community. How did that happen?
Stefanie, first of all, thank you for the compliment. Honestly, there have been so many people who helped me. And without them, I would never get to where I am today. And I am very grateful that I have at least like 10 very close female community friends. Whether it's in the pageant community or the fashion network, they have been always there for me through every minute, every second, and every stage of my life. And I think one of the things that really helped me is to have this community, a network of women. No competition, but really supporting each other and helping you to win. And of course, hard work goes a long way. There's never been like something that happens like strict overnight. You always have to put in the work. Even for pageant, I walk Do you know that I used to not even be able to walk in 2 inches heels? I never walked in heels before modeling. I was so bad and my walk was terrible. And I remember that I went to this coach and I just used to practice just in front of London Bridge, not even anywhere sheltered, not even indoor. It was an outdoor in the winter in London, raining and really cold. And I would just walk for 2 hours, like every other day. I had this practice of her for almost like 2 years. And I used to really struggled. And I remember we would just practice on the road and everyone was watching. But still, I never gave up. And I think practice makes perfect.
You've been very transparent about the fact that growing up you were targeted for racial bullying. What happened and what it was like growing up?
Oh, so when I was younger, I was racially bullied because I was always the only Asian girl. Sometimes it's not really explicit, but you can feel it, like the comments or even very subtle remarks. And I think that really affected my confidence in many ways. When I was in college, I was just really thinking about during plastic surgery. I was preparing to do every transformation from head to toe. And that was the first goal in my life. For many reasons, I didn't go to that route. So because of that, I become a voice for equality, not only for gender, but also for, race and cultures, etc. And I'm very passionate about advocating that. I attended the United Nations Conference for Human Rights and also got involved in a number of charities that target not only racial bullying, but more about, racial integration and inclusion.
When you say you were thinking about literally having plastic surgery to change your face.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, yes.
I mean, that's heartbreaking. That must have been heartbreaking, but especially for your friends or your family. It's very sad to think that literally because of how people spoke to you or the racial remarks, it really made you think about changing who you are.
It used to hit me so hard that I just hate everything about myself. I was just so convinced that I need to go to Korea and do everything from head to toe. I was really wanting to be a different person, and that is something dangerous about that because that means I don't appreciate who I am.
Do you think it was because of the racial comments? So was it wanting to look more Western?
I don't think I wanted to look particularly Western or anything, but I just wanted to be anyone else but Rosie. That was for sure. But of course, modeling over the past few years helped me to really appreciate more who I am today.
I'm so glad it gave you that confidence and belief. And you know what's more important than the modeling is you investing in yourself, getting a coach or doing empowerment things at home so that you have the confidence within yourself, because the only way to love yourself is literally by working on what's inside first. It's so easy for other people to put things in here and say things that affect us, and they can walk away and leave us, but then those feelings and the things that they've said sit inside our minds and it ruminates, and then it manifests internally because we're only human.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that affects in every area of my life. For example, if I have to have a presentation, 5 years ago, I would be very shy, not knowing what to say because I think everything I say will be judged. But right now, I just speak whatever that is on my mind. Because I was, for years, trying to be someone who I'm not. Putting on super heavy makeup, just try to be someone else. And that was tiring, Stefanie. It's so tiring to be someone else because I couldn't put on the act. It was just, okay, for 1 day, 2 days is fine, but you can't do it all the time. It's exhausting.
What was the point that made you go, I'm going to take my power back now, and this is going to be me and my story instead of whatever else you've been projecting to the world before?
Very honestly, even when I first started pageantry, I was still very much comparing myself with other girls because I was so insecure. And actually, pageants brought out so much insecurity in me because there's always going to be someone taller, prettier, better nose, better hair, better nails, better walk. But then at some point, I realized that there's only one and only you, and no one has lived the life you have lived, and no one has your experience, and that is actually make you unique, because without those experiences in the past, it wouldn't be the Rosie I am today. So the turning point wasn't just boom, it was a gradual point that I start to appreciate myself more and more and actually focus on myself absolutely instead of comparing with others.
In the midst of being surrounded by all different types of beauty, it is a natural thing, I think, when you're younger and you're in that world, and I'm speaking firsthand, to be like you said, oh, that girl's taller than me, that girl's thinner than me, whatever it might be, right? Your mental health does have to be fairly strong to withstand all of that, because you're literally competing against these women. Some parts of it is down to etiquette, intelligence, but also there's a large part that is down to looks. And if you were suffering with being insecure, how did you work on that? Because it's vicious in the fact of you're lining yourself up amongst all these other women when you're already dealing with so much internally, right?
You know, one thing that I learned, I know it doesn't apply to everyone, and I think like appreciating what you don't have and actually just complimenting other girls or other people in general does help me not to actually envy that trait, but show appreciation. And then I can also see the difference between us and in turn, appreciate what I have as well. Always rejoice when you see others having that as well, because that is the energy you want to give out.
I 100% agree. I remember when I was doing pageants, there were some girls that had won previous titles and it was my first time. And they were so good to me. They really helped lift my confidence. I remember one girl in particular, she showed me with my hair and I wasn't really sure what I was doing. She helped curl it and she said, don't just curl it, you need to set it, you need to put it in the rollers because it won't last until tonight when you're on the stage. I will remember that moment and forever, I really will. And she went on to win the pageant that evening and she'd won other big titles before. She's called Lisa Lazarus. She won Miss Universe, then she won Miss Great Britain, and she's amazing. And I remember at that first pageant, and I was in the final, however many girls. It helped my confidence, it helped my stage presence, it helped with connections. And a lot of the girls that were in that pageant, I still have connections with them to this day. So I think it does build like a sisterhood, a mutual respect, because it's an experience that not everyone understands, not everyone goes through. And I will say it teaches you a lot of vigilance and self-discipline too.
It's like a training of the character. I always feel like a national pageant is the training of your character, and then an international one is a test of your character. You get to know the sisters, but then in international it's even more competitive. You really have to have the mental tenacity to deal with all the stress. It's a lot of pressure.
Something happened to you which was completely unexpected. It's, I think, something that a lot of women don't think about, and I don't think you thought about before it happened to you.
Oh, never.
So we have to talk about what happened to you in October 2024, just last year, in Manila, in the Philippines. You were going there for Miss Asia Pacific pageant, and when you were there, you were almost kidnapped. What on earth actually happened? Because the whole story, there's so much to unpack there.
You know, one thing I'm really grateful is that the pageant actually offers high level of security from the beginning to the end. So these things actually happened like after the pageant ended, when the security wasn't there and I was alone. Because before I went to the Philippines, my dad actually warned me not to go, and we actually had an argument over that because there's been so many increasing number of East Asians, especially from Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea being kidnapped, not only in the Philippines, but also in Thailand, in Cambodia, in Laos, in Myanmar. It was like the entire Southeast Asia. They have this campaign, you can Google it, it's called KK Park, POGO, and a number of cyber online campaigns. They would just kidnap tourists through taxi drivers, even sometimes from the hotels, or even just really attractive job offers, promising good salary, a good lifestyle, and then they would be kidnapped into like a camp where they just wouldn't be treated even in a humane way. It was very inhumane. They have to work like a slave. They wouldn't if you're a girl, then you will be sexually, abused in a way. And for guys, it will be just working like a dog, literally, and you cannot rest. And they will beat you when you don't work. And, this is like a very common thing because there are celebrities, internet, really famous influencers, and actually actors being kidnapped in these kind of scams that target East Asian people. So long story short, if someone is not sure what I'm talking about, KK Park or the POGO, you can Google it because news is everywhere, and I don't need an introduction about that. But because of this, my dad was very worried, and he asked me not to go, and we had a huge argument. But still, because I watched Miss Asia Pacific International since I was young, and they have been in the Philippines since I visited that before all these POGO happened when I was very young. I love the country, I really do. So of course I'm very excited to go there. So I lied to my dad, which I would never do that again, by the way, that I'm in Dubai. So all the time he was thinking I'm going to Dubai, but actually I'm transferring in Dubai to go to the Philippines. So in the second week of the pageant, somehow my British passport just got stolen. I had 2 passports, by the way, thanks God. Otherwise, I would never be able to return. And I was thinking maybe I was just messy or just, unorganized, but I'm quite an organized person as well. So I was thinking it doesn't make sense because even all my question papers were stolen together with the passport. And on the same day, my roommate told me that she was missing papers that she was putting somewhere. So that is a little bit strange because I felt like someone must have gone to the room and while we were not there and then did something because it doesn't make sense why my passport would be stolen. And then my Filipino friends told me because it's very common that identity theft is there. It's very common they steal the British passport or just passport from different Western countries and sell it because it can be so very high price. And then I thought, okay, that's the end. And it doesn't concern me so well because I have 2 passports, as I said, so I can still go. But very strangely, like one of the hotel staff on the last day, he just insists on taking pictures of me with me. When I call the car, he has to ask for the car plate number, which is very strange. Like, why does he need the car plate number? And then he was calling like really dodgy people who were in police uniform and then just like took pictures of their car plates. And then I saw him typing something on the phone, like saying things. And then when I looked, he just immediately took it away. It was just a lot of things doesn't make sense to me on that day because I saw how weirdly he acted. Plus, my passport was stolen. And that 2 incidents matching up just shows me something is wrong.
So you're in the hotel, the passport is missing, the British passport, some of your other documents have gone missing, unaccounted for, and then there's a hotel member of staff that's like then taking pictures, writing down your car number plate, making suspicious phone calls to the point where you're actively noticing this is so strange, this is really unusual.
Yes. One thing, Stefanie, why I knew something is wrong is because he insisted calling a car from me when the reception could have done it, when I could have done it. By the way, I also have a witness, a friend of mine who was with me during all that time. It is
he was
strange.
Trying to send you, I think, with someone. He wanted to get you in that car.
Exactly. So he was really insisting calling the car for me. I turned him down like not only once, not only twice, 3 times. And then to a point that I started thinking something is wrong. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take pictures of everyone before I leave. When I went to him, he doesn't want a picture with me. He was like so weird. Acting so weird, and I knew something was wrong. He was immediately looking at the car plate number and then just typed to someone, and then I looked at him, he was like really, really scared, and then he put the phone away. And then I knew that he was saying something because my friend overheard, like something about me, like on the car. And then, all the police were women, like, who look after us. And then there was just some random guy out of nowhere, like, not even from the hotel. I saw him calling a guy, and then the guy actually came from there to me and then took a video of me. Because if it's from the hotel, if it's the proper police, they wouldn't have come from a market. They were coming from the market.
He's calling
Yeah.
up someone else that he's working
Mhm.
alongside. They're then taking videos and pictures of you, so they're targeting you. They know who they're looking for. God knows sending
Exactly.
that to who.
You know, Stephanie, I'm always very calm and composed. Like, I'm really not, even in this situation, I don't cry. I need to be really mentally calm to you know, to in order to be able to deal with it. And I wasn't nervous or anything. I just was very calm, very composed, and trying to get my nerves together. Because I think if you cry, if you break down, you show them that you are nervous. Weakness. And then you are an easy target. But anyways, back to the taxi situation. I got on and I just told the driver, okay, this is what happened. I don't think it's good if we stop anywhere, because once I get off the car, something could happen. So we need to make sure we go to the terminal directly. And then I just had to get changed, and I was like wearing this scarf like a, you know, like a Muslim, because I don't want any, you know, my hair is really noticeable in the Philippines because everyone in Asia has black hair. So this is not actually good when when you're in this situation, because people can spot me easily. So I had to wear the
You're
scarf.
in the car literally trying to get changed, change your appearance. So by the time you get out,
Yeah.
you're harder to find.
So probably they didn't recognize me. But then it's very strange. Like, you know, there are a few other tourists. They check everyone's passport, of course. But then for me, they check a few times from different people. Like, I think that is what I found strange. Why would you target checking me a few times? They were pushing my friend away. They were just, do you want to get in? Like, really rude to me. And I was so scared. So I went to Hong Kong Airlines immediately and told the girl who was working there in Cantonese what has happened. She was very worried. She doesn't know how to react, because if you're from Hong Kong, you know these things are real. It's not imaginative. It's everywhere in the newspaper. Like, every parent talk to their kids about it. And we still have like someone called Athena who is missing and found dead recently in the Philippines. I can mention that. Athena is a very famous celebrity from Hong Kong. She was kidnapped in the Philippines and recently found dead with her body cut into pieces in Cambodia. She was sold to a nightclub. It's very sad. And she was a pageant queen.
Wait, is that Miss Macau? Miss World Macau?
Yes. Oh, you know about that?
No, I thought she was found in a casino, working in a casino.
But she was sold in the Philippines to Cambodia and working in a casino. And recently I saw this paper in my language that her body was found dead, cut into pieces.
We'll get into that onto her as well afterwards. But like, I can imagine,
yes, of
this
course.
is real anyway.
Exactly. It's not in my... I arrived so early. Aramis was not open. So there could be a lot of things happen in between that time until I get on the plane. I was really, really nervous, Stephanie. And my friend was outside watching me. She was like a guardian angel, and I truly love her. And if she wasn't there for me on that night, I think I would have been kidnapped, because they wouldn't be able to target me. If they target me, they need to silence her, and they don't have that much energy. They would rather target another girl. So I was waiting in the line. I was so nervous. I told the people.
So this is at the airport now.
Yeah, after I talked to the Hong Kong airline, they couldn't help me much. They asked me to stay in the line for Aramis, where they know that it's actually real and it's actually happening. So they took it very serious. And they found a staff for me to escort me. And they said that you can go and tell the captain, because we will alert everyone in Dubai about what's going on once you land. And they accompanied me to the bathroom, where my friend just immediately went in to help me to get changed. She gave me her clothes and to change into another person. Still, that point, I was a little bit nervous, because I thought there are many ways that they can actually retain me. Like, let's say they can put something in my bag. They can put drugs in my bag. And so when I go for the security, it could just beep and I just have to go to the police. I didn't rule out this possibility. I knew this could happen. So I just quickly scanned everything. There's nothing wrong. So I went to the check-in point. I was really nervous because You know, if you have seen all the newspaper, you know the people who kidnap the people in the Philippines, sometimes they are police. Sometimes they work for the government. So I cannot trust anyone, especially the immigration department. I cannot trust anyone. So I believe most of the people who get involved in these kidnapping women are men. So in the line, I told people, go first, because I saw a woman there and I want to be her checking my passport. So I waited until the female immigration officer is available, and then I said, oh, I found my passport, and then I went to her. And when I went to the aeroplane, of course I told the staff what's going on, and they alerted the captain and things like that. But all in all, if my friend wasn't there, I don't think I would be speaking to you right now. And this experience really, really hit me and made me realize that I was being protective. Because of this experience, I went back to the church. I believe in Jesus again, and I'm a very hardcore, committed Catholic in the church right now.
There are so many children that come from wealthy backgrounds, children of businessmen that are kidnapped for ransom, for sex trafficking, for so many different reasons. And you are so lucky that you obviously had 2 passports. And when the British one was taken, what was the other passport you had?
It's Hong Kong. And I think that is the problem, because Hong Kong has this, history of girls especially being kidnapped in Southeast Asia. And I think, knowing that I'm originally from Hong Kong and I speak the language of the casino that targets, Chinese and Cantonese people, that actually makes me a more vulnerable target,
But thank God that you did have that other passport to get you out of that country, because otherwise you would have been stuck there in Manila and no way to get out.
Definitely, and that's the plan, because they probably are very surprised that I was able to get on the plane, because they didn't know I have a second passport. And if I wasn't able to get there, I would have gone back to the hotel and they can just kidnap me on the way or during my extended stay in the Philippines.
And this whole time, obviously, your dad, who had warned you and asked you not to go, had no idea where you were. He thinks you're in Dubai the whole time. I mean, how did you even have that when did you have the conversation, Rosie, with your dad and be like, Dad, this is what's happened?
I felt so bad. Oh my God, Stefanie. So basically at the airport, I didn't know what to do. So while I'm waiting in the line, I call my sister, because at that point, I thought I may not be able to return. I may not be able to see my family again. There were so many uncertainties. So I just called my sister and said, this is what happened. I want to tell you about this. I'm in danger. Like, please pray for me. I told her not to tell my parents. And then she said, honestly, I cannot keep this secret. She was like, this is too big of a deal. I need to tell them. And I said, oh my God, I think they're going to kill me or be deeply upset. And my sister, of course, told my parents, and I think that's better. Like, she told them instead of I told them. My mom was like shocked when my sister told her that I'm in the Philippines. She was like, why would she go to the Philippines? I warn you that it's so dangerous for girls of ethnicity like you. I warn you. And she couldn't believe that I was in the Philippines. And my dad was like, I'm not surprised. I warned her. I knew that was coming. I knew that. So that's why I told her not to go. Like, he even knew it so well that he would be more surprised if it didn't happen to me, if that makes sense.
Unfortunately, the prime target, and you tick so many boxes for the people that are kidnapping and holding people at ransom.
It's really sad. It's really sad, Stefanie, because those people who run this POGO or KK Park, they are originally from the region I'm from. They're either Taiwanese, Hong Kongers, Macau, or Chinese. So why are they targeting their own people? That is really sad. They are very well-educated people.
It is very, very scary. And I do think not just women, men as well, need to be extremely vigilant. And you are not the only, sadly, contestant, model, young female that this has happened to. There are so many that it's petrifying. And we also mentioned earlier, which you gave me some new news, which is horrific, is obviously Miss World Macau. She obviously went there. She went missing for over a year. No one could find her. She was later found looking not in a good way, having to work in a casino in Cambodia. And you say she's been found killed.
Dead.
In it.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. How does that make you feel knowing literally, Rosie, that could have been you?
Yeah, that should have been me actually, without God's protection. So I just realized that I need to lean on God when things happen, because there's a reason why my parents told me not to go, and I willingly disobey what they say and just really rebelliously went without the warnings. And this is what happened to me.
You were somewhere else. I can't
and I
believe
lied
it.
to
You're
them as well.
crazy.
So I'm telling you, if your parents actually tell you something, think twice. There must be a reason why they're telling that. They're not making these up. And there's like legit newspapers everywhere. So my experience just told me I'm not really lucky, but at the same time, Athena, the Miss World Macau, wasn't the only person. There was another girl who was a pageant queen. She was kidnapped somewhere in Thailand. And then she was locked in Myanmar during like live stream with men pointing guns to her. No one could get her out, and no one could find out where exactly she is. And even recently, there's a Chinese actor, a male actor, who was being kidnapped in Thailand. And then all the Chinese celebrities have to and just to spread out the word. So that is why the Thai government had to rescue him. And it was like horrific because his head was shaved. He was really traumatized, even though it was not a long time that he was being kidnapped in the camp. But still, there are many charities actually work only to rescue these targets from the KK Park and from these sex trafficking camps in Southeast Asia.
Rosie, all you have to do is look at your Instagram. You're very well known. We're talking hundreds of thousands of followers. And Miss World Macau, very famous. People know who she is. These are people that are in the, like you say, in the media, in the public eye, and there is no stopping these kidnappers. And I just implore young women and men, please take all the extra precautions. Look out for these signs, because it sounds, people probably think, oh, that's sounds like it's out of a movie, but it's real and it's happening.
Their news channel don't report these cases, because if that happens, then of course the tourism would die down. They don't want that. But when they said they would investigate, they promised that, but I never heard back from them. And then I contacted the pageant. Of course they show concern, but I felt like I would appreciate that if there's more support. But at the same time, I understand, because if I was from the Philippines, I would never realize how real these things are, because the news never report them, and that is why I felt like I didn't have the support. But the truth is, it happened, and I know what I'm saying. I'm not the only person who saw that. I had a local Filipino girl who was absolutely shocked and traumatized after this.
Would you ever go back to the Philippines? Would you ever feel safe enough to go back?
I think for now it's just too much is going on in terms of these camps and kidnapping. In the future, I would love to, but definitely not right now.
Obviously, you're still super heavily involved in the pageant world. What would you recommend to other girls that want to go and compete in some of these places? Obviously, it's their dream to go and do that. What would your advice be?
You know what, Stephanie? The first thing I look is the location, because if it's in Southeast Asia, I just have to give up this opportunity. I really don't want another similar incidents to happen to me. I'm not mentally ready for that. If you are open and you are not scared of going to Southeast Asia, most of the best pageants are actually held in Thailand and in the Philippines, in Malaysia, or in Vietnam. But for those girls who are interested in going, please be very vigilant. Just make sure your passport is safe. I would never recommend anyone to stay behind in the same hotel. If you need to stay behind, make sure you have a friend or family with you. You could never stay behind alone.
Rosie, you're very strong. And what you went through is really eye-opening. And I just hope that if anybody is listening to this episode, they take it as a warning and take everything you're saying really seriously, because It's very easy to think, oh, it won't happen to me, but it's real.
It doesn't only apply to Asia. It applies to everywhere you go, girls and boys. So please be careful.
Rosie didn't just walk a runway. She ran to her freedom. And she did come out of it bruised, but luckily unbroken. Her story shatters the illusion of glamour and lays bare the very real risks that women face in travelling abroad. In speaking up today, Rosie didn't just reclaim her voice, she also gives one to every other woman who thought that they ever had to stay silent. If you are travelling alone, make sure people know your whereabouts, where you are, and pay attention to the risks that are around you. I'll be back next week for more Steph and Tea.